So in this video, doing the best metal from October. This is week number 3. Albums released. I think these are all released on October 21st. 2022, I got 5 albums, so let me just jump right into it. First band is Exhumed, and the album is To the Dead. They're a band from the US, from San Jose, California. They are death metal. They started out as like a grindcore or gore grind, but then they kind of evolved more into death metal. I think this album is more like straightforward death metal, but it's just very fast. It's heavy. It's grimy. It's dirty. It's swampy. It's just a very heavy album. Released on Relapse Records. This is album number 9. So these guys have been around for a while. The members are Matt Harvey on vocals and guitars, Ross Sewage on vocals and bass, Mike Hamilton on drums, and Sebastian Phillip on guitars. You notice that there are 2 vocalists, so you got one guy with like the really low gutturals, and the other guy with more like still gutturals, but they're a little different. The band I can compare this to the most, I guess, Carcass, kind of like that grind into death, and I'm sure there are other bands that I can compare them to. But I'm going to talk about my 2 favorite songs from the album. First song, Drained of Color. It's very heavy. This was one of the singles. Heavy death metal vocals in the intro, and you read these lyrics and it seems like they're reading from like this like mortician's textbook. It's like describing all some kind of process of I don't know what. It's super fast. It's heavy. You got blast beats. You got tempo changes. You got the guttural vocals and like the low guttural vocals. There's like 2 different types of vocals, and they go back and forth. The song does have like a slower breakdown, so I picked this song because it did have a little more melody than some of the others. And then the guitar solo, it's just like one of those like fast shredding solos, those like high pitched like squeal notes. You get those a lot, and just a very fast and heavy song. And the song number 2 I chose was Rank and Defiled. I chose this one because it's like a little slower. No, not slow, but it's just a little slower than they're very fast. A little closer to thrash metal. You got chunky riffs, but it just gets very brutal. The guitar riffs go through some changes. The vocals switch between those like suffocation style low gutturals and those like carcass style vocals. I think that's how I can compare it. It's a little more melody than the others, and it does slow down in the middle, and you get this guitar solo and some slower riffs towards the end. So if you like heavy, fast, brutal, dirty, very fast death metal, then check out this album. Now, the next album to talk about, this is kind of more, my speed. It's called SAHG, and the album is Born Demon. The band is from Norway, and they're a doom metal band, but that like old school doom, not like that like modern doom where it's like super slow. It's more like Black Sabbath, Trouble, Saint Vitus, Candlemass, even like Ghost. They do have the lyrical content is a lot of like evil and like demonic stuff, so that's why Ghost came to mind, and they do have that like 70s sound. The album was released on Drakkar Entertainment. This is their album number 6. In the band there's 3 people: Olav Iversen on vocals and guitars, Tony Vetas on bass, and Mads Liljevet on drums. And I picked 2 songs. First song, House of Worship. This one starts with this drum solo. Then you get these like heavy, like Black Sabbath style riffs. You got like the lead vocals and the backing vocals coming in. Now the song is not too slow. It's more like those mid-paced songs. But these lyrics, they're just very like dark and evil lyrics. You got some slow parts during the breakdown, and like these metal riffs, they're just very memorable. The song number 2 I picked was Kill a Spirit from Out of Hell. This one is very creepy because it starts with like a child singing some kind of like nursery rhyme, some kind of like a Freddy Krueger kind of thing, and it has these slow guitar riffs, these slow dark horror movie lyrics, and it's a good Halloween song. Just classic doom metal. There's like evil chanting towards the end, and really good band if you do like those like old school like late 70s, early 80s type of doom. So SAHG, Born Demon. Band number 3 is Brutus with the album Unison Live. This is technically not metal. I guess they're more like alternative post-rock, post-punk, new wave, maybe a little alternative metal. I guess they get like a little heavy at times, but I like it. I want to include it. So the label is House of Records. This is their album number 4. It's a 3-piece band. So we got Stephanie Mannertz. She's the drummer, and she also sings. Then the other guys are Peter Mulders and Stijn van O'Gardin. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that name, but these guys are from Belgium. This band sounds like a mixture of like a lot of '90s bands, I guess. The Cure, Garbage, Hole, and just they're kind of original, so they're kind of hard to compare. But my favorite songs, the first song I picked was Dust. Now I like this one because it starts out with this like spaghetti western intro, then goes into like this very fast drum beat, and then it's kind of like a fast paced song. It has these like higher range vocals and these like alternative rock guitar riffs. Song has lots of energy. You got the isolated drum and bass part in the middle of the song. You got some slower rhythms towards the end. Lots of like a post-punk or goth style riffs in the song, and then the song ends with these like spaghetti western riffs. So this is the kind of I always like think of that old show like 120 Minutes on MTV. Like this band would probably like fit perfectly on that show. The second song I chose was Dream Life, and it's a little more atmospheric, I guess. My first impression was it's kind of like a new wave, like Nirvana type of song, just like an energetic intro. But then, like when I heard the vocals, kind of reminded me of something like Susie and the Banshees, like that type of thing. It's just very lots of like energy, and like lots of like layers of sound, layers of noise. You got lots of new wave style riffs, a steady rock drum beat, and it kind of gets slow during the last 30 seconds with these atmospheric passages. So that was my pick. The next band is Iron Allies. The album is Blood In, Blood Out. They're a band from Germany, and they play straightforward heavy metal. This is their debut album, and it's kind of like a supergroup. It's a lot of the members were in the band Accept before, so I can probably compare this band to Accept. Probably that's the one band that comes to mind. But we got Don van Stavern. He was in Riot. Francisco Jorvino, he played with Jorn and Primal Fear at one time. Herman Frank, he was in Sinner, he was in Accept. Michael Pessin, he played with a couple of bands. He played with Herman Frank, and David Reese, he played with Accept and a couple other bands. So, I mean, these are guys who have been in like the metal community for a while. So, straightforward heavy metal. The first song I picked was Fear No Evil. It starts with like this drum intro, melodic guitar riffs. Just straightforward heavy metal. Melodic vocals in the chorus. It's just very catchy. So this song has galloping guitars, lots of energy, just hard rock style guitar solo, and you get those like twin guitars like right after the solos. I like that part about it. The other song I picked was Martyrs Burn. This one has a little more of a slow, groovy kind of guitar riff, and you know you got like the bass playing in the first verse, and you got some chunky riffs in the chorus section and backing vocals, and I like this. It kind of has that like nice like bass groove. So I think if you're a bass player, this is like a good song for you. It's groovy. It's kind of like you got the twin guitar working. It's just a very enjoyable song. And I'm going to talk about one more album, and this is probably the one that actually liked it the best out of all of these, and it's just a band I've never heard of, but they're called White Skull. The album Metal Never Rusts. They're from Italy. Now they are a band. They play heavy metal and power metal. They kind of like blend it so well, so you know, like one genre doesn't overpower the other genre. I think they just mix it very well. That's why I liked it a lot. They're released on Rock of Angel Records. This is album number 11, so they've been around for a while. And in the band, Alex Mentiero on drums, Tony Madfonto on guitars, rhythm guitars, Federica Sister de Boni vocals, Joe Ratty on bass, Alessandro Mustico on keyboards, and Valentino Francavilla on guitars. I guess the bands I can compare this to is power metal bands or like those bands that are like a mixture of like power and heavy. I'm thinking Gravedigger, Manowar, Warlock, those types of bands. Those like old 80s bands. Now, this band, it's heavy, it's kind of power metal, it's melodic, it's a little cheesy at times. I guess that's why I enjoyed it. My favorite songs, the first song I picked was the title track, Metal Never Rusts. It just has this fast beat. The vocals are kind of melodic, kind of harsh. So I like that part about it. It's a female vocalist. You know, you got the drumming, the chorus is melodic. you got these like power metal style guitars and drum beats, and the drumming picks up bass hard. I actually like the drumming on this album. It's really good. And you got the twin guitars. You get some of that like industrial style drums with that like hammer hitting the chisel kind of sound, and it's solid. It's fast, and I like the end of the song. Like it's bullshit, it's bullshit, something like that. It's really fun. And the other song that stood out for me is called "Pay to Play." It's cool. It starts with like this haunting keyboard in the verse. It's got these like darker and evil vocals, and it's a catchy song. These songs are very catchy. I think this is the one song that stuck in my head when I listened to the album. That's probably why I chose this one. The vocals are very good. You got lots of variety in the styles. They also go into like the Godfather theme for some reason, but the song is just memorable. They have this like really cool solo and then the song ends. So those are my 5 albums. That is all. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.